Now it says I'm live here. Is that right? I can't see the chat on this one. This is crazy. Oh, there it is. Live chat. All messages are visible. There we go. Somebody say something. Heck, I might be too old and slow for this. Oh, there you go. I seen Zach. Hello from Colorado. Now it's working. There's David. Wow, I had to switch to my iPad. I bought, or I didn't buy. I downloaded OBS. It's a live stream software, and when you learn how to use it, then you can show pictures or whatever you want to on your live stream. And I just don't know how to use it very good yet. So just one of those things. Trying to learn. Anyway, it says there's 8 people in here. That's good. Can you guys hear me okay? Is the audio okay? Oh, yeah. What were you doing in Utah, David? Hunting, I hope. Cool, cool. Yes, sir, Zach. Anyway, I was going to answer some of the questions that I get that I've gotten over the years on my videos. One of the number one questions that I always get asked is, why do I cut the tails off on my dogs? And the terrorists that I have now, I call them the terrorists. That's the 3 male dogs, Uno, Timmy, and Al. I didn't bob their tails. And then I have a pup, Boomer. Another guy raised him in Texas, or whelped him out in Texas, but he's out of my old dog Booger and out of one of his females. And then I have 2 more pups that are about a year old. David, thank you. I appreciate it, David. Thanks for watching the videos and everything. Be safe driving out there. Anyway, Rusty and Iris, 2 pups. Haven't had them on many videos. They're coming about 6-7 months old, I guess now. But they haven't been. I didn't bob their tails. So, but before we bobbed all their tails, because when they're trailing, if they're trailing in a lot of brush and everything, they're whipping their tails back and forth. They'll get what we call a monkey tail, and that's a bloody end. That'll, and it just from them hitting it on the brush, and then they whip it so hard when they're trailing a lion that there's a lot of intensity there, and they really shake that tail, and so I needed to answer that question because I bet I've had 50 comments like that. Why do I bob my dog's tails? And then there was a couple of them, like Dan. He's up in Utah right now. I probably bobbed his tail a little bit too short. He looks like a pointer. Sissy, if you ever see Sissy, her tail is probably the ideal length. We bobbed about that much off of it, probably about 8 inches off of it, which was just about right. Hey, there's 13 people in here. 2 thumbs up. Anyway, another thing I want to share is that I've been mentioning, probably not on the videos, I don't think, but in my community tab, I talk about the terrorists. And they're the 3 male dogs that I kept that are out of Jazz and out of, they're out of Jazz and Booger. And I kept them, and I kind of kept them pretty freed up. They're real trashy. And like I said with Uno, I've caught 3 ringtail cats, a badger, what else? Oh, and he caught a jackrabbit one day. It's amazing. But anyway, they're kind of irritating right now because I let them run everything, and they run jackrabbits, and you just kind of gotta close your eyes and go on. Just because I want them to be really free and really want to run to catch. And I've had them on some lions. Oh, thank you, CD. You know, I've got some really good trail hounds right now. They'll all work a track. I'll have a video come. I'm like 5 months behind, 4 months maybe behind on my videos, and I've got just week before last. I trailed lion for 2 days. I went up to some really good country, and that's another thing I want to talk about is I'm going to try to get out of this desert a little bit. It's kind of been a challenge to me, and I tried real hard, and I ended up catching that tom up here, but oh yeah, those talking about CD is talking about those my greyhounds or my stag hounds or wolf dogs we call them. When I ran those, that was a lot of fun, and it was hard to do it here, but anyway, I'm going to try to get up into some better country, and that's where I've been for the last, I don't know, the last 4 or 5 times I've been out. And I mean, the trailing conditions, it's really hard to finish out a track down here in this desert. I mean, the conditions are just so arid and so it's hard. You end up trailing older tracks, and you realize down in some of these protected canyons with some bedrock in the bottom, and then you get up on top on those flats where it's wind blown and you got that greasewood, and you can hardly trail a 5 or 6 hour old track. So you end up, or I end up kind of confused all the time, wondering what I'm trailing, or where I am with that line. Should I pull the dogs off and jump ahead and try to figure out where he's gone? For the most part, I'm pretty happy if the dogs are trailing, and I'm 100% sure they're trailing line, we're going the right direction. And I can sit and watch them pound out a track and watch where that lion travels. That's pretty satisfying to me. So try to do that, and then with the videos, I try to share as much as I can about the joy of just having hounds, and what it's like to hunt, instead of always, people getting the wrong impression of just turning a bunch of dogs loose and them running and catching something. I mean, that's not the way it is for the most part. There's a lot of work that goes into it. And these guys that are real successful, I mean, I know guys that, drag roads and, have 2-3 trucks running roads and looking for tracks, and, that they put a lot of work into it. Out here, it's just me, one man band. So, oh, and then this last video I put up, I don't know if y'all have watched it. If you do, let me know you've seen it on the comments there, but that was taken years ago. I mean, back way before YouTube and Facebook, and there's kind of a funny story to it. The Guadalupe Mountains, but I spent about 2 weeks out of the north there to catch a pretty decent trail. There you go. Yeah, Guadalupes are a good friend of mine. Benny Griffith hunted that for a long time, and did real well over there in the Guadalupes. But anyway, that video I took, it's kind of a funny story to it. I used to run coyotes with those stag hounds, and we don't have a lot of real open country here around here that, like they have in Kansas and Iowa and Nebraska, where all those good coyote dogs come from, and Texas. And so we have limited open area, and those dogs, they have to have open country to be able to catch a coyote. They got to be able to sight it. They got to be able to keep it in sight. And so I was always having a hard time if I didn't go out on the pivots or the big alfalfa fields and run them on those pivots. Yeah, Oklahoma's a good place, and they got that. There's some good dogs come out of that country. But we would, you'd get on a coyote, and then he would beat you to the brush, and then you couldn't get him caught. So what I tried to figure out a way to do is I started calling those coyotes, and I started trying to set up ambushes. And back then, a lot of guys were asking me how I was doing it. So I asked my wife, and I had been making videos, roping videos and stuff, a long time before that, but I didn't have a good camera. So I asked my wife, I said, stop at Walmart and pick up one of those cameras for me, one of those video cameras, so I can make a little video and show these guys how I catch coyotes. So she brought it in. I went out that afternoon without any, I didn't think, I'd catch a coyote in the afternoon or I'd be able to call one in, but I was just playing with the camera. And so that's what I was doing that day when I made that video. And I was riding a real young horse, a little 3-year-old gelding that I had that I named him Googles, and I was videoing. It was real dry and it was the afternoon and everything, and man, those dogs got started on that, and it was a shock to me when I found out they'd caught a lion. That was something else. So then I started kind of learning how to edit a little bit, and I put that video together, and I sent it around. A lot of people had probably seen it before, but I sent it around to some sighthound guys that I knew around the country, and so and I kind of debated for a long time. I had it on YouTube and I had it in a private setting, and I kind of debated a long time about whether sharing it or not, but I thought, well, it's Christmas, I'll go ahead and share it and see what everybody thinks about it. You guys still there? Give me some more thumbs up. Comment, ask me questions. That's what this is all about. I do have some more videos coming up that, I went up into some high country this summer, and that I put a little video up when I lost Chaz up there for a day. And okay, cool. Oh, thank you. And I made a little video. I went up there, and one of the goals I had for this summer that I talked to my wife about was I'm not sure if that, Ethan asked me if that was the first lion I've caught. And I'm getting old, my memory's not that good. I went with a friend of mine that had some really good lion hounds. And he called me one day, a rancher up there, and I've pointed that out on some of my videos where we caught that lion. I can't remember if it was before I caught this lion or after I caught this lion. But anyway, they called us up there, and they had a fresh track on his ranch. And, and they on those ranches, they don't want any lions on there, especially when they're calving and stuff, and so they called us up there, and I went with my buddy, and we got on that lion track, and man, I stayed up there with the dogs. He went down to get his tracking unit because we didn't know how far they were going to go. Thank you, Zach. That's great. Hard and great videos. All right, thank you. And so I went up there on top, and I tried to stay with those dogs. I was a lot younger then, and he went down to get his tracking. He had tracking collars on the dogs, but he went down to get his box. And it was one of those big old telemetry boxes, like carrying around a banana crate with you. And man, I stayed up on top, and we trailed that lion. I watched those dogs. He had one really, really good dog in. Just for instance, that lion was a jumped lion, and they still cold trail. I mean, they still trailed it like it was a day old. It was real slow going because the conditions were terrible. But anyway, we trailed it off to the end of a bluff. He finally got back up there. Man, I stayed with those dogs, and I just loved it. I thought, man, this is the funnest thing I've ever done. And we got off on that edge, and it's pretty open country. You could see for a long ways. And my buddy Greg got up there, and I said, we ought to be able to see that lion. He should be going out through here somewhere. And we looked and looked around, never could see it. And the dogs just stopped trailing. They quit. They had a real bad lose, and they quit. So I was climbing around in the bluffs, and I went down below this bluff. There's probably about, 25, 30 feet high. And I was walking down the foot of it, and probably about 10, 12 feet off the ground, there was this crack in the rock. And I was just climbing down through there, and when I walked below that crack, that lion growled at me. And I looked up, and man, he was back in the back of that crack. He was a real nice Tom, and the rancher came up there, and then Greg came up there, and I climbed up on that bluff, and there's a little old tree, and I had to hang onto that tree to the side and lean over into that crack to try to get a shot at that lion. I never will forget, the rancher told me, he said, make sure you kill him, don't, you shoot once, shoot again, keep shooting until he's dead. And I pulled, and that lion wasn't, he probably wasn't 10 feet away from me. And I pulled the trigger and boom, shot, and I hit the lion, but it wasn't a fatal shot. And that lion ran by me and brushed my leg on the way out of that cave. And that's how fast he was. I never even had a chance to drop my gun. I was still holding it like that, and he ran by me. And then he ran across the canyon, ran into another little old hole across the canyon. We got up there, and he was way back there in that hole. And we tried to get in there, and it was kind of dangerous because you could hear him in there growling. We crawled down in that hole, and he was like up on a ledge, and you had your head down below him when you got in there. So none of us had the guts to go in there and try to finish him off. And we tried to smoke him out. And I think while we were gone getting wood to smoke him, he escaped. And a government hunter, I think, killed that lion like a week later on the ranch down below us. But yeah, on those private ranches, they're they want those lions killed, and we have lots of lions, so it's not. I mean, there's plenty of lions. Let's put it that way. Any other questions? I tried to get my wife to come in here, but she won't get on camera. I told her that you guys need to meet her, but she's bashful, camera shy. Anyway, so this year I'm going to try to get caught up on all these videos. I'm going to do my best to just, editing for me is slow, and then it's hard for me because, oh yeah, we did have fun. Oh, there's Reap What You Sow. Those guys have a neat channel over there, kind of a homestead channel with all their rabbits and their goats, and you guys get a chance, go over there and check them out. It's real. I go over there and watch their channel often. I don't comment as much as I should, but I sure watch it. Thanks. Anyway, you bet. Thanks, CD. I'm glad you enjoy them. I enjoy making videos. I always tell everybody, I got a guitar here and I can play it just enough to irritate everybody. And shoot, drawing, I can't even hardly draw my name, and so it's about the only creative thing I can do. Uno's caught 3 ringtail cats. I've caught about 5 of them throughout the years. Thanks, Marshall. I appreciate it. But I've caught about, usually, those ringtail cats live up in those bluffs on those rims, and they hop around on those rocks, and those dogs get up there and get to. They don't leave a lot of scent. They're a little bitty critter, and they're totally nocturnal. They don't come out during the day, so they're bouncing around there at night, and the dogs will trail around and open up a little bit and mess in those rocks. But they find them in those holes, and then when they find them in those holes, then the stupid animal, he starts screaming. If he'd sit in there and be quiet, it wouldn't get the dogs so riled up. But they sit in there and they make a terrible screeching noise. On one of my videos, I have the audio of that ringtail cat screeching, and it's just a terrible screech, and then it gets the dogs excited, and they have a hard time leaving them alone. They're pretty fun for them to catch. Now, I've caught like 5 of them. The dogs have only killed 1. They pulled 1 out of a hole one time. A ringtail cat is, man, see, if I had that good software, then I could show a picture of one, because I have a picture here somewhere. They're like a squirrel with real big eyes and a big long ring-tailed cat like a coon, but it's a big tail and it's real long, and their body's real small, and they got little round ears. They're a strange looking creature, but they're a carnivore. They eat meat now, because when I lived up in my mountain, on the mountain off grid at my camp, I had, just like you, I had chickens, I had goats, I had I totally off grid. I no cell phone service, no nothing, and I really enjoyed it while I was up there. But anyway, I had a ringtail cat start getting in my chicken coop and started killing my chickens at night, and I thought it was a coon, because we had some coons up there too, and so I set a trap and I trapped that sucker, and he didn't eat any more of my chickens. Yeah, you look it up. Look, just ringtail cat. If you Google it, there's a lot of pictures of them. But man, they're nasty. I mean, they'll sure get your chickens, because they killed. I probably lost 5 or 6 chickens up there to them. Anyway, where was I at? Oh, but I got some good videos, I think, coming up. Some better country. I talked about this summer. I went back up to the higher country, and I kind of had the goal of going in on 1 mule and staying for 2 or 3 days, not taking a pack animal. And the weather's better, it's warmer, so I don't really have to worry about packing too much stuff to stay comfortable. And so I went up there and I did that. I stayed out, a couple days, and I had to come back in a couple days. Found a good place where, there was a lot of lions traveling through there, but gosh darn, it's just terrible country to get around in. You can't hardly, the blowdown and the trails aren't maintained. If the Forest Service would get in there and have crews that maintain those trails, then it wouldn't be that bad, because you could, it's wilderness, there's no roads, but you could ride around and, if your dogs went down on one of those old rough canyons, there's enough, at least on the maps, there's enough trails where you could get around. But, Forest Service is top heavy. They don't have many guys in there, that work the trails, and they really don't work that country where I was hunting. They stay out of that. And after the fires and everything, the downfall timber and everything, is just terrible to get around in. But I hunted it. I trailed lion for a couple days there and spent the night out, several nights, and I enjoyed it. But it's not any place, a guy wants. There's a really good lion hunter friend of mine who said, man, there's easier places to catch lions. So those are the places I'm looking for this year. Frank, I have a video coming out. My grandson shot a really nice mule deer buck this year with a muzzleloader. I took him into a place where I've hunted since I was a little kid. And me and Josh, a friend of mine, you've seen videos probably of him hunting with me, good guy from Oklahoma. Him and I went in there and hunted in August, and I found some deer in there. I found some pretty nice bucks, we seen some bucks. And so I took my grandson back into there. It was about 8 miles in the wilderness, and me and my grandson went in there on mules, and he shot a pretty nice buck. He's beginning to think there wasn't any deer in that country, because we only had a weekend. His mom wouldn't let him get out of school, so we had to go up on a Saturday and hunt Saturday and Sunday. And I told him, I said, the chances of us getting a buck in this wilderness with just 2 days is pretty slim. I said, but we'll pound the rocks, and ride the country and glass a lot. And that's what we did, and we seen 2 does there close to camp. And and he, he's a young boy, and that was his first deer hunting. So he didn't, everybody has a different probably expectation of what it's going to be like. And we was riding old Jet Johnson, and I'd look back at him, and he'd just be looking down at the horn, playing with the leathers or the strings, and not paying any attention, because we just weren't seeing any deer. And finally, that late Sunday afternoon, we were about 8 miles in, and we rode down a little finger, and I seen a buck bedded down in the grass, and that buck seen us, but he didn't think we seen him. And it's a way I've done it before. Years past, my dad taught me how to do it. I told my grandson, I said, there's a buck over there in the grass. I said, don't. Oh, wow. Thank you, Woodsy. Wow, thank you. That's what they call a super chat, I think. First one I ever got. Woodsy, thank you very much. Anyway, we rode on down through there, and I think he thought I was telling him a story, because I tease him all the time. And because he never seen the buck laying in the grass. And what you do is we just ride down through there on our mules. That buck was just hunkered down the grass, and he looked at us, and we just acted like we didn't even see him, and then turned and rode off. And we got back over there, and I said, just tie up the mules. And I said, let's go back. And he still didn't believe me. So we tied up the mules, and we walked back over there. That buck was still laying in the grass. And that buck, that grass was probably about, I don't know, it was pretty high. And you could just see his face and his horns sticking out of that grass. And I kept telling my grandson, I said, there he is. And he couldn't see him. So I said, get your binoculars and look. Finally, he see him, and that buck's laying in the grass. Okay, hey, take care. Reap what you sow. Thank you very much. Anyway, and he seen him, but we didn't know which way his body was laying exactly in that grass, and didn't know how to get a good shot at him. And we're using a muzzleloader, and neither one of us was very familiar with muzzleloader. Matter of fact, it was that Friday before that was on Sunday, and it was Friday before that first time we'd ever shot a muzzleloader. I bought all the stuff, and then we went out and target practiced, and he wasn't shooting it very good. He was hitting, he was a little off at 100 yards. But anyway, that buck stood up, and we had the little primer in the back, but we couldn't. It was a Thompson Center muzzleloader, 50 caliber, and we couldn't get to cock back. It wouldn't lock when it cocked back. And we were messing with it like cartoons out there. And that buck stood up. Never will forget, he switched his little tail back and forth and stretched, and he was looking at us. Finally, I got that thing cocked, and I gave it to my grandson. I said, I told him, I said, don't you waste any time. I said, you shoot him because he ain't going to stand here very long. And he shot, and we both thought he missed. There wasn't that, that thump that you hear, usually when you hit something. And we went and looked, and 50 caliber muzzleloader, there should have been some blood there, and we went off over there, and there was no blood. And I asked Leighton, I said, do you think you hit him? And he said, oh, I think I missed. I probably missed. And I said, well, at least you got an opportunity to shoot at a nice buck. I said, that's more than a lot of people get, and we had a good time. And because it was Sunday afternoon, we were going to have to head home anyway. And I said, when that buck ran off, and there was another buck that was bedded with him, and we never seen. He took off the other way. And when that buck ran off, I seen him going down that hill, and he just didn't look like he was moving right, And I told him, I said, I'll go get the mules, and we'll ride down there and see if we can find some blood. Maybe you wounded him, and we can kind of trail him back up and get him killed. And man, I was going back getting the mules, and he said, I'll go down there and look right now. And I turned around, and I heard him scream, oh, there's blood. And the video is pretty cool, and I'll post that video. Because I didn't video the shot. I didn't video anything like that. Typical of what I do is I get excited and I forget to turn a camera on. But I was videoing us blood trailing that deer. And in the video, we got our heads down like a couple hound dogs looking for that blood, trying to trail him up. And in the video, you can look out ahead and you can see that deer laying on the ground up there dead. And we stumbled right up on him. So it was good for him. I mean, we spoiled him. I told him, I said, man, you're spoiled now. I said, just to come out here for 2 days and kill a buck like that's pretty good. And he was a nice, 4x4. Well, really a 3x4. He had a real small cheater that made him a 4x4, but really good buck. And we did that no gutless method where we cut all the meat out and bagged it and made old Jet Johnson haul it out. And we packed the head out. I didn't have enough rope to pack the head, tie the horns correctly where they wouldn't, bounce and hit a mule or something. We were a long ways in there. I didn't want nobody getting hurt, so we took turns carrying that head out and led the mules. We didn't get back until 10, 11 o'clock back at camp. So that's the deer hunting story. Video to be coming out. So how about it? Oh, 15 thumbs up and $10 super chat. That's amazing. Thank you. That's super. But anyway, this thing's been going for about 27 minutes. Anybody got any questions? You want to know what's going on? I talked about the terrorists. Keep an eye on the terrorists. Get to run some pretty amazing country. I like it out there. Thank you, Zach. Andy, one day I want to take my hounds hunting. Come on out, Andy. I tell anybody it's a houndsman. If you want to hunt, come on out. Oh, I know what I got going on. I got a guy that's he's a young man. He really likes the oh yeah, Andy, shoot, come out and ride around with me for a couple of days. I got a young man that is contacting me, and he's a sight houndsman. He runs greyhounds on right now. He runs on jackrabbits. He's got some really really fast dogs. Thank you. You bet, Andy. God bless you too. And I've been friends with him on Facebook. I call it Facebook. I've been friends with him on that for a while. And he came out the other day. They built it. His brother's an engineer, and they built a dog box that's unbelievable. It's got electronic. When you're running coyotes, you got these boxes and they got doors on them. So when the coyote, when you see a coyote and the dogs become sighted, you jump those or open those doors and those dogs bail out. Well, he's got electronic latches where you can just push a button and the doors open. Really cool box. Anyway, he come out and show me that. We got talking and everything, and he wants to he's got a lot of these sight hound guys, older guys that he knows, and that he wants to go interview. So I gave him all my sound equipment and everything. I said, go do it, and he's going to contribute those interviews to the channel. And I'm glad, because I just haven't had the time to go out and to do the things I wanted to do as far as the interviews go. I mean, I still got guys that I want to go interview, but it's just been, it's hard. I've been moving and I got these hounds, and I owe it to them to get them out. So every time I have free time, I get my hounds out. What else was I going to say? Oh, good. He says, love your videos. It's a chase, not the catch for me. Hunted with some old, yeah. On this iPad, I got you on this iPad, and the chats come up and they just stay for a minute and then they go away. I'll learn how to do this this OBS software. I just started messing with it really tonight. I thought I could. Oh, there's Finley River. Thank you. Finley River Kennels. I mean, go over and watch his videos. He's got some good videos, and he's a character now. I watched the video where he went to some lady's house and did a surprise something for. He's a character. That's good. I enjoy your videos, Finley. Good seeing you too, brother. But anyway, this guy's going to go out and talk to them. I'm going to try to get some more interviews doing, but I'm going to do it in between. I mean, now the season's started. It's cool. You know, things are nice. I'm going to be hunting those dogs, and I'm going to be going out and setting up a camp and staying out, you know, for, well, probably for 2 days, and I'll have to rotate dogs. Thanks, Finley River. Guys, if you get a chance, go over there. He's coon hunter and got those Finley River walkers is what they are, I believe, aren't they? And he's making videos. Hey, Skylar, how are you? Yeah, it's cool. Not sure if you remember, but we talked briefly on the phone a few weeks ago, mainly mule talk. Oh, I'm looking. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm doing good, Skylar. So, Frank, have you found a mule yet? Or I know we talked for quite a while. It's hard to beat those mules in rough country. You know, I've done some podcasts here lately. I've been on, well, first one I did. Oh, okay. Thank you, Andy. Keep looking, Frank. Did you get a hold of Rick Cormick? I wonder. That's a guy I think that in Missouri that has the good mules. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh wow, thank you, Finley River. That's great. Another super chat. That's cool. That's amazing. You know, I of course I'm a YouTuber, and then I watch YouTube videos, and I don't watch every. You know, my wife and I will watch like one television show at night, like something on Netflix or what's the other one? Amazon Prime. But we don't have any, you know, any regular television. And I watch YouTubes, and I go to people's YouTubes, and like if they're doing a live chat, and I do this super chat I watch a lot when I'm trying to learn how to you know, how to make the YouTube videos, or how to because I know there's a bigger audience out there that could watch the videos, but you've got to do certain things through YouTube to be able to make them available for people, or for, you know, for people. They got like suggested videos. So if you don't make the thumbnails right, or you don't get a good click-through rate, or you don't get the audience retention, then YouTube won't suggest your videos. You know, the guys who just, you know, like to watch my videos and are you know, regular subscribers and watch them, that's a good thing. You know, they'll watch them anyway. But for a new guy coming on, you have to put the little, you know, the little hook up in front, so they'll see it, and they'll be curious about what the rest of the video is about, and then making those thumbnails. I used to just put a little picture up and a title. Zach, I got a good story about bobcats. Just that happened yesterday morning. Yeah, tags. They say anymore, Finley, the tags are not that important. They say that the thumbnails, and then also the audience retention. So you need to make a video that keeps people, you know, hooked on your videos for a longer period of time. And then the click-through rate with the thumbnails. I mean, if you make a good thumbnail, and then they're you know, it catches their eye, and they think, oh, I'm gonna go click on that. But anyway, the bobcat story. Right here behind my house is some big old canyons, and my nephew was down here for Thanksgiving, and so I told him I'd take him out calling coyotes. So we went out Sunday morning calling coyotes. And we got out there, and first stand we didn't have anything. Puppies make the algorithm go wild. Yeah, I probably do. I got one video up. It's called Walking Puppies or something like that. But anyway, and we went out there in our first stand we didn't have. In our second stand, and it's a pretty good location, and we started calling, and man, I looked up there and I seen this. I thought it was a coyote first coming over the top of the ridge, and then the way it moved, it wasn't a coyote. I said, that's a cat. And I even thought it was a lion, because I trailed a lion right out here behind the house before, because it was big. And my nephew had the rifle with the scope on it, and he looked through it and he said, oh, it's a big bobcat. And he was coming in on a line. I mean, he was just moving, just coming in. And there was one little old hill between us and him that was probably going to be about 75 yards away. And my nephew was sitting there, and he was waiting, when we were waiting for that cat to come up back over that next hill. And he went down in the canyon before that hill and then started to top out, and got right before he topped out where you could get a shot at him, he stopped. And I don't know if he seen movement or he got suspicious, something happened, but he stopped right there. And we waited, and I blew on that call and tried to make all kinds of noises, tried to talk him into coming in. He never would come in. We stayed there for about 45, 50 minutes. And then so I looked at Joey. I said, we were about a mile and a half probably from the house. Cool, Mel. Yeah, he's a coon hunter. And we took off, and I said, let's just hook it back to the house and grab some dogs and come back out here and see if we can catch that bobcat with these dogs, with these hounds. So we knew we were there and back, so we were about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours behind that bobcat. But the problem is that we've had, in this last week, we've had almost 2 inches of rain, which is a lot of rain for this desert. And then it froze that night. So that bobcat walked into our stand on a more or less frozen ground. And then when we got out there with the hounds, and we got back out there, that ground was thawing out, So the dogs hit the track, and we trailed probably for, trailed on and off for about 2 hours, but it was real spotty. They would trail. When he got down in the bottom of the canyon, little old narrow arroyo is what we call them, they would trail him real good, and they moved it and trailed on up and trailed out. But same thing as with a lion, is when they topped out, hey, New Zealand, that's cool. Oh, wow. He's at work now. Anyway, when they top out, then the dogs would have a bad lose, and they go forward and they come back, and they go forward and come back. So, I pick the dogs up and I move them, to a better place, and trying to figure out where that cat would have gone to, and sure enough, we hit another canyon trail, then we'd have a bad lose, and they'd get into a bad spot and just kept moving them. Finally, just time got us, and to catch bobcats consistently, or be able to catch them, you need to be able to run them in areas where there's some brush. Where there's brush, if they're moving through, it holds that scent. But all this country back here is just flat old bare ground, doesn't have any brush on it, so those dogs have to trail from track to track to track, and it's just almost impossible to catch a bobcat out here. I had talked to Cody King, friend of mine down in South Texas, bobcat hunter, and catches a lot of bobcats, has really good dogs, and he said, you're just going to face the fact that you're not going to be able to catch any bobcats in that country. And that's probably true, but I'll keep trying because it's so close, And I like to hunt lions better, but if I get to catch a bobcat, I'll sure take it. Everyone please, the live, and share it out. Cool, Finley. Guys, any questions? Shoot now. And if you want to, from here on out, I wouldn't mind if I can especially if I could get this software working. It's pretty cool, because like when somebody asked about the ringtail cat, I could share that on my screen, what it looked like, or some of the. Oh, right. Good, Ethan. Yeah, we're going to try to do that. And I'd like to try to have a live, on Monday nights like this, so kind of explain what we're doing, or how, what I'm trying to do. I do better if I'm talking to you guys like this, and what's coming up, and And if you have questions, or if there's something you don't like, or there's something you do like, you can tell me. I don't mind. I mean, I, I'm just learning with everybody else. What's the best book to read on about hound hunting? Wick has Walk with Wick. It's a good book on the basics of hounds and training them, getting them going. Let me see, I might have it somewhere. I got a ton of books here. Watch this. Bobcat Dog's a good one. Desert Puma, that kind of tells a story about the desert lions out here. It hurts your teeth to read it because it's all in scientific jargon. Jinx Pile, this is a good book. This is Mountain Cowboys. It's about hunting lions. And Meet Mr. Grizzly, Tracks Across New Mexico, and the Dogs Bark Treat. Ed Vance, Trained by a Hound Dog, that's a good one. Lion Tales, the Tree Dog, a Walk with Wick, this is it. Hope you guys could see that. I don't know if it's on Amazon or not. If it is, I'll put a link up. I got a little Amazon Associates thing, and if I put a link up and you guys click on it and you buy that book or whatever it is that I suggest, and it goes through that link, they throw me a little bone. That's Old Corey. I've not seen any of his books. I don't have any of his books. Pride and Hounds. That's something I'll look up too. I always wanted to run curs, Mel. Daryl Fry up in Nevada. Boy, he's had good luck with those cur dogs. Me too, Andy. I had to hide my head in my arms in 5th grade when they read it because I was crying. So back to the pod. Old John Wick, I know him well. Great houndsman and raccoon hunter. Yep. Yeah. I still go back and I'll read some of this book from time to time, trying to, a lot of wisdom in this book on hounds. Oh, your curs come from Daryl. Yeah, he's a good guy. I've talked to him on the phone several times, and I went up and hunted in Nevada, and I kind of picked his brain about locations and stuff when I went up there, but I didn't do any good. I just stayed lost mostly the whole time. How do you get most of your pups started? I let them run rabbits. I let them run and let them learn how to chase something and put their nose out and try to find it and just move on from there. And then I've been fortunate. Hunting with Hounds in North America by Andreas von Reckel explains Sighthound and Scenthounds. Oh, cool. And now I've been fortunate that I've been fortunate that I've always had some older dogs to start them with, and and I've learned a lot over the years that these dogs are bred to trail. I mean, that's what they do. They're the trick is getting them on tracks where they can start trailing. I mean, I don't mean to make any excuses or anything, but I had a really good pack of dogs, and I was trailing a lot of lions and doing good, and I caught some, and everything was going right, and then I had to move out of the mountains, and then I had like 5 dogs die in 2 years, and it was just getting where I felt like I could just go out and, if I hunted for 5 or 6 days, I could catch a lion. There's Todd Rose. Hi, Todd. And then I kind of lost those dogs. I lost Solo, which was the last dog I had that was what I considered, a lion hound. And then I started out with Booger and P, and they're good trail dogs. I mean, they started out, they'll trail a lion, but man alive, there for a long time, they'd trail everything else too. And then being able to finish out a track in this desert's been a tough deal, you know. So no excuses, no excuses. Anyway, I did 3 podcasts. I did the Hunting Dog podcast, and then I also did the Houndsman XP podcast, and from years ago, Dogs Gotta Run curs where I live. Now don't have. I got Jazz as a Hendrix bred dog, and then so the terrorists are out of Jazz, so they're all Hendrix bred, and then they all go back on the other side to some of Van Johnson's and Henderson bred out here, you know, and then that goes back to Terrell Shelley, and then back to the Lee brothers, I guess, and Steve Smith and all those guys. But anyway, I did this other podcast, Song of the Hounds, and I don't know when it's coming out, but I did it just the other day, and then I also did the Houndsman XP. And I always kind of feel, I don't know, I do better like this. I just kind of self-conscious talking to those guys. I don't know why. I get nervous and everything, and but hopefully they came out well. Anyway, we've been here a long time. It's pretty good. Thank you guys very much, and thank you guys for the super chats. Have you ever heard of Garrison Mules in Medina City? Yeah, I know Paul Garrison well, Frank. I went down. If you watch my video 4M Ranch hunt, that's me. I went down and hunted with Paul on that 4M Ranch. He provided the mules to the owner of the ranch and all that, and I hunted with him. He should have access to good mules. If he doesn't have any himself to sell, but I know he knows, you know, that's what he does. He's a mule man. I thought I gave you his number I thought I texted it to you. Smash that like button. Yeah, all that stuff. Subscribe, like. Frank. You bet, Frank. I hope you get a mule. You get a mule, come out. We'll make a circle together. Or come out and ride one of mine. I got 4 of them now. I got a mule named Ruth you bet, that she isn't, I haven't even had her on the video yet. She's a little spooky and a little watchy. She broke though, and she'll lay down. You can poke her on the shoulder like that, and she'll lay down on the ground. And she's trained on a buggy where you can pull a buggy with her. I don't know anything about that driving, you know, or that buggy stuff, but I'm thinking I'll get me and my wife a buggy, and then in the afternoons we can take a buggy ride during the summer. I think she'd like that. Anyway, guys, thank you very much. Watch out for this podcast, Song of the Hounds, coming out. Guy was a real good guy. I don't know how good we talked for a long time. I don't know how good it'd come out, but I just tried my best. And man, thank you guys for the super chats. That's super. I mean, I really appreciate that. And what else? Any questions? Anything else? Man, you guys are carrying on out there. 1969 from John Monroe. Oh, I'll tell you. Finley, let me show you something. The same guy, Finley, that did these other interviews I did of the lion hunters. He also made these interviews of these coon hunters. It's called what is it called? Warriors of the Night, the coon hunters, and he interviewed Gene Barger. Oh, I can't pronounce these names. Warren Hoslauer and Ken Lane. Do you know any of those guys, Finley? Anyway, I got to digitize it. I got to take it and run it through and digitize it, and then I'll share it on my channel here. This has got to be back from 2003 or 2004 or something like that. kind of confusing for me sitting here watching the chat, people talking, and then I'm on the camera. Gene Wolfringer is from here in Texas. He hunts blue ticks. I know him well. Oh, cool. Well, they interview him on this one. I got to take it. I got the equipment to do it because I got some videos of Dale Lee hunting jaguars down in Mexico, and I got some video of Dale Lee and them roping a lion. I just haven't. I don't think I've digitized it yet, but I got to set up my stuff and digitize it. All this stuff I learned on my own. I'm 58 years old. I never went to school for any of this stuff or anything. I just took it up and learned it. Bert Oni Hounds. Wish I got here sooner. Oh, Jimmy, we're going to do it again next Monday night. I want to maybe come up with maybe a subject matter instead of being, here and there and about everything. Brad Cameron, he's a hand on a mule. I know that. I seen some of that stuff. But yeah, maybe we'll, if you guys go to my community tab on my YouTube channel, you go to the channel itself, and then there's a tab that's called community. Maybe we'll put something in there, and you guys can suggest, topics or something, and you bet, Mel. Thank you. And anything, whatever you guys like to. If you have questions or whatever, because I'm gonna try to get caught up in the videos. I mean, ideally, what I'd like to do is to be able to get caught up on the videos, and then on Monday night have a live, publish the video. I would have published the video the week before on that Friday, and then Monday have a live, and then try to publish another video that following Friday. And then, hopefully there'll be some good stuff going on. You bet. Exactly. I've never had Plott hounds, but Orville Fletcher, real famous lion hunter around these parts, he said one of the best lion hounds he ever had was a Plott hound. I've never used them. I've never been around them. I was, when I first got into the scent hounds, excuse me, I was told by a guy that knows what he's talking about. Try to find dogs that have been a line of dogs that have been used in a similar country, or similar area, and that's what I did. Is I went and found some dogs that were being used down in Southwest Texas, and I got those dogs. I had a 4-wheeler and one of those nice sports Polaris. I don't know. I got a man for it, and I stuck that cash in my pocket. And the next day, I drove down by Fort Davis, Texas, and I bought those hounds from that man. I bought 5 dogs. I bought 2 older dogs and 3 pups. Brought them out here and thought I was just going to turn them loose and go catch a lion. I turned them loose and chased coyotes all over the place, and some deer and javelina. So the equipment you use. Love your channel. Okay, please share with good pictures of the equipment you use. Are you talking about the equipment my camping equipment, or what I use as far as the Garmin tracking collars and the GPS unit, or my tack that I use? I guess all that. I need to do that. I've made several tack videos, and I've never published them because they just didn't come out right. I just didn't like the way they were. And because I'm a one-man band, I'm solo most of the time. You bet, Jimmy. Thanks for coming by. Okay, yeah, everything. Yeah, I'm gonna get my grandson. I'm gonna get him to come handle the camera, and I can do it that way, and have him do the camera. And then I got some mics that I can use and the sound, because that's what happened before is I'm trying to set up the camera and it's a long ways away, and then I have to move it, set it up, and try to get close enough so you can see what I'm talking about. And then when it's far away, the sound isn't any good, and then the wind blows here all the time, so you get wind sound on your video. When you're out hunting, you can't help it. I mean, it's just you're going to have some wind sound if the wind's blowing. But when you're trying to do a video like that and you're trying to show your equipment and talk about it and describe it, and you got wind, and it's no good. I got a plot I use on hogs, and a friend of mine has a bunch. He likes them. Oh yeah, I mean they're rough dogs too. And when me and Robert Pino, a buddy of mine, were running, we ran. He had a good bear dog, and I had a dog back long time ago I called Super Hoover, and he was a good bear dog. And these dogs I have now are they're just not the best bear dogs in the world. But I told Robert, I said, man, if I was going to come up here and run dogs or run bears, I would invest in a good line of plot hounds. I think that's what I would use, because it takes a gritty dog. And these bears here, they just don't like the tree a whole lot. You got to put a lot of pressure on them, get them to climb. And I chased a lot of bears, but that's about it. We chased them. Man, I could talk dogs all night. Get some guys really, really liking to talk dogs. I mean, because to me, that's why I made that video. It's all about the hounds, and really that's what it's about. And I love to put a bunch of dogs on the ground and go out there and ride my mule and see what we can get into, Try to trail lion, but as long as I'm out riding, that old wild country out there, and I got dogs on the ground, I'm pretty happy. All right, 3 minutes, and it will be an hour that I've been on this thing. So thank you guys. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for everything. Let's try it again next Monday night at 6:30 if you can. I'll put out another notification. There's a place in Alabama where the old coonhounds go when they're running their final race. It's nice to talk to a guy about dogs from all over. Yep. Cur or hound talk almost as good as listening to the dogs. Almost. Yeah, I like to. So I always tell everybody, if you're a houndsman, when you're coming through this country, stop by and see me. And if we got time, we'll make a circle. I have my guide's license, but I don't guide. I don't, it's nothing. I'm always scared that if you're guiding for money and you're trying to make a living at it, you probably end up doing things that will take a lot of the fun out of it for you. And it's those guys who guide and they have an 85 or 90% success rate. They work hard to get that. I mean, and that I don't want to do that. I will, Zach. Thank you for coming by. Gotta go, guys. Thank you very much. Go over see Finley River, reap what you sow. Check out those guys' channel. Watch my videos. Thanks, Frank. Give me a call again when you got any questions about mules, or let me know what you get. If you buy a mule, send me a picture of him. Thank you, Andy. See ya, Finley. Keep up the good work, Finley. Keep making videos, man. CD Harris. Thank you. Gotta go, boys. Thanks a lot. Next Monday night, same time, same place. I'll try to get this software working. Then I can share some things that might be a little more interesting. And I'll make the equipment videos. I will do that. More interviews to come. And, of course, me and my hounds riding around on mules. Riding around on a mule with the hounds on the ground. Free casting. I'm trying. I understand, Finley. I'm still trying to become computer literate. But cool. Thanks, guys. Let's go. I don't know how to shut this thing off. Yes.